Hello YouTube bro, my name is Nicholas Montes and you're watching the teenage movie critic, Nicholas Montes, and I'm your fellow movie enthusiast, Nicholas Montes. Now, I know you're wondering, why are you doing a live stream? You don't do those anymore. I actually wanted to make a quick little live stream. I'll keep doing live streams only for certain videos. But most of my other videos will be, edited, filmed, and all that stuff. And most of them will not be filmed live like I'm doing this one, but I had to because I don't think I really have enough time to produce a video like that, and I have other things I want to accomplish. But I did want to hop up online to talk about Disney's latest animated film, Zootopia 2. Now, if you guys know me, this was a film I was so excited for going into the year of 2025. Most people could say because I'm a massive Disney fan, which is true. But also, I was a massive fan of the first Zootopia. I love that movie to heart. And, when they first announced that they're making Zootopia 2, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so down for that. And to explore the other animals and to explore Judy and Nick's relationship, like, all that I want to see. And then also, if you look at my list of my favorite, and I'm not lying when I say this was my most anticipated film of 2025. My list goes Zootopia 2, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, Superman, Sinners, and Wicked for Good. That was my top 5 of the year. Now, when it came to the fall and the Wicked trailer started coming out, I actually did switch Wicked for Good above Zootopia 2. But I can only say Zootopia 2 is a much better movie. Which kind of spoiler that I did like this movie. Now, the only if you want to talk about my nervousness going into this movie, I actually didn't really have anything. The only nervousness that I had was this movie going to be good? And can it be a better sequel than Moana 2? Or at least a better movie than Moana 2? Because I'm going to be honest, Moana 2 was not a movie I really liked. It was, and honestly, I've always had this dream about going to the theater to see a Disney movie during Thanksgiving break, because that's normally when they release Disney movies. And they've been doing that since, 2021. I mean, actually, they've been doing it for years, with the original Moana, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Frozen 2, and Kanto, though they did release Raya and the Last Dragon the year before, in March. Strange World, Wish, Moana 2, and now Zootopia 2. And I would tell you that I regret not going to see Moana 2, but the thing is, Moana 2 was so ass that I'm glad I didn't go to that, because I saw the greatness of what Wicked was. And now we basically almost had Wicked for Good and Zootopia 2 come out the same weekend, sort of. And I'm actually proud to say that I have no regrets, because I saw both of them in theaters. But also because, and I practically loved both of them. And I'm proud to say, I'm glad I was able to see Zootopia 2. And it finally accomplished my dream of being able to see a Disney movie in theaters. Not only that I got to do that, but I also got to see a Disney movie in theaters during Thanksgiving break. That was amazing. Which, yeah, I'm pretty spoiling my thoughts already. Yeah, this movie's great. So, in my opinion, first thing before we kind of dive into it, I think this movie is absolutely hilarious. This is, I was rewatching the first Zootopia with my sister earlier today, and, we were just watching it, and all the jokes that happened throughout the movie, they were, of course, very funny, but I didn't realize how funny they were. And now watching this movie, I was like, oh, wait. Every time I kept hearing about someone talking about this movie, they just kept saying that it's, so funny. And that's what I realized about the Zootopia films. They are great comedies. They know how to handle comedy right in this animalistic world. And that's another thing that this movie does really well, is the world building. The world building is so creative. Whether it's the name brand of a store, just everything. The way all these animals are able to do things that as in society as humans do, but it's done in a way to where it's funny and it fits in their animal nature. It all works really well, and it's Disney-ified, and I really enjoy it. Um, so yeah, all the world building stuff is really cool in this movie. And then of course you also just have the other characters coming back. Of course, our old characters are still good. You got Clawhauser. I'm surprised you didn't get as much of Benjamin of Chief Bogo in here. You don't get Lionheart because he's not the mayor anymore. You do get the new mayor, that is a horse, played by the guy that played Joe in Family Guy. And he's pretty fun. He almost acts kind of dumb in a few times, but honestly, he fits the character very well. And matter of fact, there's a lot of voice actors in here that really fit their roles perfectly. You have a Sinks or Lynx, played by Andy Samberg, and I was thinking that he was just going to be used as a joke, but his character actually works well as this character in this world. And I'm like, wait. Like, and I thought he probably wouldn't work as well because he was already in like another animated franchise, which was like the Spider-Verse and Hotel Transylvania. He's more of a Sony guy, so I didn't know if he would be doing well for, Disney. And he actually kind of works well in here. Like, this works really well. You also have like all these other Disney cameos, like, and that's another thing that this movie does. It is loaded with like Easter eggs and references to Disney films as well as just pop culture stuff, which I enjoyed. Not that, and it was never distracting, but it almost felt like they did a little bit too much, especially when they had like a Shining reference and like a Ratatouille reference. I thought the Ratatouille reference fit because it's like you're going through a kitchen. What else would you rather see? That fit perfectly. They also played Bella Notte with Nick and Judy. That was funny. They also had references to like like Hooks and Ariel's Grotto or something. I don't know. But yeah, some of the references in here were very cool. As for some of the emotional stuff, I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Nick and Judy's relationship in here. I thought it was both funny, but also you start to get to understand a little bit more why our characters act the way they do. And to me, I just think it's one of the best things ever, especially when we get this whole realization scene of like where they actually tell each other of why they do the things they do, and it works really well. I will say, I kind of thought it was AI at first because when I first saw it, because I was like, and it's probably because I keep seeing all these edits of Nick and Judy like cuddling and having babies and stuff, and it's the TikTok AI stuff corrupts my mind, I swear. But it worked really well. And also that was kind of another thing I was a little nervous for, that, the last 9 years we've been seeing like all these fan fiction comics on Zootopia. And one of them involves Judy having an abortion with Nick, and from their outfits that they had at the beginning of the movie, I thought they were going to cover that. They didn't. But one thing's for certain, they really tease you with them probably being a couple in the future, in the third film. Because there is going to probably be a third movie. And yeah, I don't know, like, they really tease it. Do I think it could work? Probably. But I don't know. But yeah, so that's out of the way. So now, and then also let's talk about Gary the Snake. Gary the Snake, I was interested in how they were going to handle him, because, it's Ke Quan, and, he's kind of played a Zootopia character kind of already in Kung Fu Panda 4, which in my opinion, he played like a pangolin character in that film, and I thought he was cool, but at the same time, I'm also like, his character was not that impressive. In this movie, he works so well. And as soon as Judy started joining him and stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, this character is so cute. He's so funny. He looks so innocent from the way he smiles and the way he's talking. It's like you feel he just makes you want to smile. It makes you want to give him a big hug, and it's like, oh, I'm Gary the Snake, and don't worry, I know I poisoned, but it's okay. I have an EpiPen. I can help you. Like, just coming off of Everything Ever All at Once, Ke Huy Quan is just such a great actor and voice actor, as he's been in Kung Fu Panda 4, now Zootopia 2. Like, he's rising up. Like, in many cases, I think I may do a top 5 favorite films list of Ke Huy Quan performances, because this is another one of his best performances of playing this snake. But the other thing I want to talk about is the story with Gary the Snake and the story of reptiles. First off, loved that we kind of got to explore all these different parts of reptiles, which of course we do. Now, when it comes to our mammal characters and all of our mammals, we still get tons of it. We still get a lot of it, but our main focus is trying to prove that reptiles and snakes are not bad. Much like how predators are not bad in the first movie, snakes and reptiles are not bad. And in this movie, we really get a lot of good stuff with that, but we also get a lot of development of like all these other creatures that are out there. So we get like a whole section of walruses, and we get this. First off, we get this beaver character that I really liked, and she a lot of people could say that she's annoying, but honestly, there's just so many, like, and I could definitely see why, but honestly, I just loved her throughout the entire thing, because there was just a lot of lines that I thought she said that was just really funny, and I thought she worked really well, and I'm glad that, like, towards the end of the movie, she actually got more involved in the adventure, and I was really excited for that, and I really liked that. But when it came to, like, the walrus section, like, of course, it was funny, but then we got, like, we got to see, like, a dolphin, like, at a bar, which I'm like, this looks so weird, seeing a dolphin in a Zootopia movie in this world. I'm like, this it's so cool. It's almost like, I just want to be part of your symphony. Like, it was so fun, so cool. And then we get this, like, underground world with geckos and lizards and iguanas. And I'm like, this just feels so unique. And then we also see some frogs at some point. Like, it's so unique and interesting in how they do things. It's like, I will say, I kind of wish we got a little bit more of it, to be honest with you. But at the same time, it's like, for what we got of that was awesome. Because we can't really spend whole lot of time with that, because we're kind of on the run right now. So we have to find out what we're doing here. But it really was spectacular. And I hope we get the reptiles and stuff in future movies, because these characters, we could probably get more development on these characters. I really want to see more of reptiles. And then also some of the chases were really fun. And then, of course, just the fact that Zootopia was not made from a mammal. It was invented from a reptile, a snake. And the lynxes are trying to cover it up as if they were the ones that discovered it. And they're trying to frame them. And to be honest, I kind of think this was the weakest aspect of the film, to where it's like they're trying to make this a big secret that a snake discovered it. But honestly, technically, it's supposed to be the main factor of the film. But to be honest, I think that's kind of one of the main factors that I kind of wasn't impressed with. Now, I was more impressed with that, like, it answers the question, where have all the reptiles been? We now know the reason why, but to show them now, but to actually show them where they are and what they're doing, and to see all these different animals come, I'm like, I would say that's better than actually getting the result of why they're not there, of why they aren't here with the rest of the other animals. That could make it stop being lovable, but honestly, like, I thought it was okay. I mean, we barely got to know what these other animals and tortoises were like. I think it has a little bit of a weak spot when it tries to do that. And there's plenty of avenues in this movie that, like, I'm not saying this is a perfect movie or anything. It definitely meant a lot to me because of the emotion. I also love the animation as well. This movie said that this was like the biggest movie from Disney, as it had like a shot with 500 animals in it, and it's pretty impressive, if I'm not gonna lie. But and while there are some story beats at the end of the day, I'm kind of like, I don't really care, because how did this movie make me feel in the emotional and the journey on? It's kind of like No Way Home a little bit, but at the same time, it's a better version of that. I probably would say it's better than No Way Home, maybe, but I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Like, this movie was so entertaining, so funny, kind of emotional at times. The music from Michael Giacchino, it was pretty great, especially. I don't want to give it credit for the shining music, but the score in here was honestly one of the main standouts. And also, the post-credit scene, I thought was pretty solid. As basically, it's basically showing that birds will be in the next film, which I'm very excited for. And I'm interested to see how that's going to explore it. And yeah, now I will say another flaw that I kind of had with the movie, I think some of the pacing was a little bit off in certain scenes, like especially with the beginning. Like, it kind of establishes that like these characters that the world does not see them work well together because they messed up an entire city, which kind of makes it odd, because like they literally just, if it took place that week after, kind of had a hard time like predicting that or whatever, or like making you believe that it took after a week. But honestly, like, I feel like after we got into the adventure and stuff, I'm like, honestly, I'm just kind of enjoying myself with this movie. Like, I'm not really caring about that plot stuff. Like, once Gary the Snake and Judy got together, I'm like, this just became a lot of fun. So like, I'm actually kind of enjoying that. So, now it didn't hit me there. I think it really was pretty much when Judy met Gary the Snake. That was pretty much the best part. But overall, yeah, this movie was great for me. It's probably one of my favorite movies of the year. Is it one of the best Disney films? Well, we'll have to find out, because I'm actually not sure where I want to put it on my Disney list. But in general, this was a great movie. Definitely go and see this in the theater. If you like Disney movies and if you like the first Zootopia, you'll definitely have a fun time with this. And honestly, I think this is probably the funniest film of the year. Definitely funnier than The Naked Gun, though I think that movie's pretty funny too. But yeah, this perfected comedy. All right, real quick, I know that technically the thing says Zootopia 2 review, but I did want to give a quick review. I did want to do a quick ranking of the Zootopia franchise with Zootopia, Zootopia Plus, and Zootopia 2. In last place, unfortunately, is going to be Zootopia Plus. I have no particular issues with this show. I just think that the whole concept of basically it's a series of shorts that happen to take place throughout the Zootopia movie is a little bit dumb, and the fact that it's like, that's all it is. Now, certain episodes do something different, like the Rodentia episode, which I really enjoyed. And while they do certain things that make it clever to see certain points from the Zootopia movie in a different point of view, it's fun, and it uses those characters in fun new ways. But I'm like, it just kind of felt contrived at times when they just kept doing different aspect ratios of the film. So, I liked it, but it wasn't the best. Number 2, I gotta go with Zootopia 2. Great, funny film. Very good, but the pacing was a little bit off, and there were certain parts that I kind of wish I cared about more. But honestly, it doesn't really ruin my experience of the film that I enjoyed. But easily the first Zootopia movie is the best. Come on. I mean, this movie just introduced us to this whole new world with mammals, as you have this bunny that wants to make the world a better place as a cop, but at the same time, kind of sees that she has this bias towards predators, and to see how that can go. But likewise, the characters are all great, and also, it's probably one of Disney's funniest movies to date. Like, I love Zootopia, man. Alright, I'm going to take a drink of water, and then we're going to go ahead and get on to the tier list, guys. Alrighty. Alrighty, so... Hold up. Okay. All right. So, I'm gonna go ahead and keep the tiers like this for now. If I have to change them, I will. But it usually does get complicated when you start getting deep into this list. But when it starts out, it's pretty easy. When it gets tough, it gets tough. But we're going to be talking about 64 movies. So let's go ahead and get started. We start off with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the first feature-length animated feature, and I think it's definitely one of Disney's best movies. Okay, actually, yeah, I'm actually going to make it separate tier for this. Make a S tier. I honestly don't know why they make an S tier when they could just, I don't know. But Snow White, yeah, this is a great movie. It's definitely good. It definitely gets better when you rewatch it because of how good the animation is. The characters are likable. The music is pretty great. And it's just an iconic movie. It's not one of my personal favorites, to be honest with you, but I'm gonna make an SS plus. I'm gonna make an S plus tier too. But granted, it's not one I rewatch personally. But whenever I do, it's pretty damn great. So I'm going to put this one in the A. Pinocchio. This one is pretty impressive, if I'm not going to lie, because it was very good. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the music and the songs. I love the animation, especially in the, whale sequence. But honestly, the thing that I kind of can't wrap my head around with this was the fact that they just kept showing... Hold up, I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix this. That they actually showed Pinocchio smoking and drinking in a 1940s movie. Granted, I don't know exactly how bad that was back then, or they didn't realize it. I don't know, but it does kind of affect me a little bit because I'm actually against smoking and drinking, to be honest with you, and I don't really think it's the solution to problems. But you know, it's a kids movie. Well, actually, not. I don't even know. But yeah, so it's still a very good movie. Still really appreciate it. Still love it. Now we get Fantasia. I can understand why people would love this movie, but for me, it's not one I particularly like. Other than the Mickey Mouse sequence, don't really care for this movie. I respect a lot of what it's trying to do at an artistic level and a music level, but I just can't enjoy this movie all that much. So I'm putting this one in the D. That's all I can do. I wish I could put it in C, but there's other movies that I think deserve to be in there. Dumbo. Dumbo is one that I don't know if I could put in the S plus tier, but I definitely can put in the S tier. This, to me, is one of the hidden gems of Disney history. Because even though it's an hour and 4 minutes, this movie kind of saved Disney. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but Pinocchio and Fantasia, they actually didn't do so well at the box office. And when Dumbo came out, it was kind of the film that saved Disney a little bit. Now, granted, Granted, this was at the beginning of the company. They only, you know, Disney was just striving off of the Mickey Mouse short films. And up until that point, they only made 3 movies. And 2 of them, which were Pinocchio and Fantasia, didn't make a lot of money. Dumbo kind of came in and saved them. And it worked really well. Because the movie is great. Even though it's an hour and 4 minutes, it's the best hour and 4 minutes I've ever seen. Because it's like the emotion that this movie encapsulates, from Dumbo tripping on his ears, to when he gets taken away by Mrs. Jumbo, to him cuddling with Mrs. Jumbo. Like, it's so mesmerizing. And even the usage of the pink elephant sequence is probably one of the best animation sequences in Disney history. I love this movie. It's emotional, it's great, it's awesome. We then get Bambi. Bambi is a very good movie. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous to look at, it's cute. It's a very cute movie. Kind of wish the story was a little bit better, but it's still a very good film. So I'll put this one in B. Now we have the wartime era. And this is where the era of Disney movies starts to get tricky, because I don't really care for any of these movies. I really don't. And so Saludos Amigos, I'm actually just going to put an F. I believe it's also the shortest Disney movie that we have, where it's kind of crazy because Fantasia is like the longest Disney animated film we have, and then Saludos Amigos is like the shortest. Don't really know why they made it into a movie. I don't know why they made some of these movies. The Three Caballeros. I think it's pretty iconic for some of the characters, but honestly, I think towards the end, it just doesn't really know where it's trying to go. So, I'll put this above Fantasia. Actually, no way, yeah. I'll put this here. Make My Music, yeah, I'll put this one in D as well, but at the bottom. Fun and Fancy Free, yeah, Fun and Fancy Free is fun, and I enjoy it. I'll put this one, yeah, I'll put this one here. Mainly because it's like, the shorts are pretty good, but then again, it's like, there's really no story, it's just telling shorts. That's it. And then we have Melody Time, which, honestly, I didn't really find any of the shorts in here to be interesting. They do one with Donald and one of the Three Caballeros, and I don't really like it, honestly. So, yeah, I didn't really care for it all that much. So, yeah, another F tier film. Now, The Adventures of Ink About a Mr. Toad, I actually thought was pretty good. I think both stories just feel like pretty iconic Disney. Especially since, you know, I know about the Headless Horseman story. And also, Mr. Toad has come back in a few Disney shorts, like Mickey's Christmas Carol, which I probably will rewatch this Christmas season. So I'll put this one in the D category. Yeah, it's gonna go with Fantasia. Overall, I think it's a better movie. Or actually, I don't know. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Alright, now we're getting back to the good movies. We get Cinderella. Cinderella definitely has that Disney magic. It definitely has good songs, fun characters with the mice. But when you actually think about the story, the Prince Charming isn't all that interesting. And really, once again, it's a film that mostly takes place inside a house with the evil stepmother and the evil stepsisters, which they're pretty evil and devious, but at the same time, it's like the plot isn't all that interesting. That the plot seems very condensed, and it's like there's no world in here where we enter that is interesting or lovable. So I'll put this one in C, or actually, yeah, I'll put this one in B because it is good. It's a Disney classic. Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I never understood the love this movie got. Now, I do like some aspects of this movie. I like the Cheshire Cat. I like that the world is kind of interesting and creative. I liked Queen of Hearts and that she gets loud. There were aspects of that I found enjoyable. But honestly, because of the weird nature of this movie, I just never got into it. And I can definitely understand why some people like the 2010 version of Alice in Wonderland directed by Tim Burton, and because he's a weird guy, so he does weird things with weird characters. But I just never got into it. So, as for me, I'll put this one in D, between Fun and Fancy Free and Three Caballeros. I think that's where it should go. Peter Pan. Peter Pan is also interesting because at the same time it's like, I think it's very fun, but then I'm also reminded that it kind of feels like it's like children's playtime movie. But at the same time, it's like, that's what makes it so much fun. The characters are so quotable. And then it also keeps going back to the fact that this movie has a lot of dark theories in Disney history, with Peter Pan wanting kids to come to Neverland and never grow up, and Captain Hook is like the savior. It almost makes sense, but it's like if they actually made a Peter Pan horror movie and that was the plot, that would actually work really well to acknowledge that plot line. And it would work really well. But I'm gonna put this one in B because it has that Disney magic, so I think it works really well. And also the songs in here are pretty iconic. And the characters are good. I think it's really good. Lady and the Tramp. Surprisingly, while this movie has some iconic Disney moments such as the spaghetti kiss, and of course, you know, some of the characters are pretty iconic, it's kind of a typical Disney movie, typical Dog's Tale. When you actually put it to two terms, it's a little bit like Cinderella in a way. But honestly, I'm going to give this one a B as well. But it's going to go at the bottom. And the main reason I put it in B is because it has that Disney magic. Like, that's the thing. Like, you think of the iconic moments and the characters, like, especially in the way some of the scenes are shot. Like, some of them are actually pretty good. Like, I'm not going to lie. Sleeping Beauty. I rewatched this movie a few months ago, and I'm not going to lie. This movie's actually really good. Now, it's not my favorite Disney movie, but it works a lot better than most of these films. The animation is quite stunning, and it feels different from the other films. And then at the same time, it's probably one of the better Disney princess movies that we've gotten before, since Cinderella and Snow White, where I still think they needed to figure out how to handle their princess with Aurora, because we really don't get to know anything about her, because all her likeness are just things from the fairies. But I love the way they established the world of where Aurora came from. But then I also love that they just made a villain that's so villainous with Maleficent. She's so great. And then but I will say, this is also the first movie where they handle the prince really well. And you actually care about the prince a little bit. And I really liked that. To where he's not just left out through a mystery. He's actually, like, kind of developed. And he actually gets to defeat the villain in the end. And that was awesome. And he's guided by the fairies. And that was really cool. And the Sleeping Beauty dragon stuff, all that was great. So, this movie, it's honestly solid. I'm putting this one in B. Top high B. Next up, we have 101 Dalmatians. Another solid pick from the Silver Age. And honestly, this movie works incredibly well now that I think about it, because much like Lady and the Tramp, it's a pretty typical dog movie. But there's a lot of complexity in this movie where it's a pretty goddarn story about these Dalmatian dogs and this couple falling in love, and they have 101 puppies. And then you have this villain, Cruella de Vil, that wants to steal all of them and make them into fur coats. It's pretty jarring and dark, but it's like they kind of add all these little things about certain puppies, of like the one that wants to watch the TV or wants to that is hungry, and it's like, it's really fun, and they do certain things to make them do things. I heard something about the animation of like how they had to add all these spots on all the puppies to make them accurate of a real Dalmatian. Like, it's so interesting the way they did that. And honestly, I kind of want to go back and rewatch it right now because it's like, movies like that, they're just timeless. They're classics. So once again, it's not my personal favorite, but for this, for it just being a standard good movie, that to me is what really drew me to it. So I'm gonna put this one in B. Sword in the Stone, I'm gonna be honest, I did not care for this one. Now, I did like the battle with Merlin and Madame Mim at the end, as they turn into animals. That was really fun, and it was really funny. But I just kind of think the way they handled the King Arthur storyline was just kind of where it's like you basically just have King Arthur just transforming into animals the whole time, and he learns lessons from Merlin. And it's like a squirrel kind of like tries to interrogate him. It's just weird. And then like I even heard something about that the actor that played Arthur in the film, he like was going through puberty, so like throughout the production he kind of sounds a little different, which obviously that's what's gonna happen when you're in puberty, when you hit puberty. But hold up. But yeah, I could not enjoy this movie fully. And then like the whole Sword in the Stone thing, it doesn't even happen until like the very end. So pretty disappointing Disney movie, and honestly, I only enjoyed one part, so I'm gonna put this one in F. This was a massive disappointment from the studio, in my opinion. But it was definitely the best of them, in my opinion. Jungle Book. It is pretty sad that this was the last Disney movie before Walt's death. Well, actually, it came out a year after his death, but it was the last Disney film that Walt worked on before his death. And I'm proud to say it is still a very good movie. It's, obviously, when you think about the story, it really isn't all that interesting. But, you know, the characters and the songs are still memorable. And when you go back and rewatch it, it stands out as a Disney classic. It works really well. So, I'm going to put this one on the A tier. Definitely is a Disney classic. Hold up. Alright. Now we're going to talk about the Bronze Era, which was known to be the Dark Ages for Disney. And I'm going to be honest. This era is not as bad as people say. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say this was like a great era or anything. This was not a very good era for Disney. But I look back on some of these movies and I'm like, they're not all that bad. Like, I look back on them and they're kind of entertaining a little bit. But let's talk about them. So, we get the Aristocats. I happen to enjoy this movie a good bit. Partially because it finds a way to mix Lady and the Tramp and 101 Dalmatians kind of together and makes a pretty cool story. It's really fun. I kind of want to give it another rewatch because I haven't seen it in like 4 years since I first saw it. But it's a very entertaining movie, and in my opinion, I think it holds that Disney magic, even though it's not like targeted in the Disney parks, but I actually really enjoy it. Next up, we have Robin Hood. I have not seen this movie, but I will say I really like the song that they play on the Disney World commercials. You know, Robin Hood and Little John walking through the forest, da na 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 to say. now that I know where that song came from, I kind of want to go back and rewatch this movie. I will say, it is kind of a dumb idea that they decided to make Robin Hood story where you have a bunch of these animal characters that are the Robin Hood characters, but they're basically animals wearing clothes. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's actually kind of fun, and it is kind of quotable. So I'm going to put this one in C. It's not as bad as I remember. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, I think, is a good movie. I think, but at the same time, it's also like, is this really a movie? Because it kind of feels like what the wartime era films did, that it's just a series of shorts. That it's like an hour long of Winnie the Pooh shorts that technically already came out already in the 60s. So there really wasn't anything new here to suppress. But I still kind of enjoyed it. I still thought it was good. But also, considering that I'm a massive fan of the Winnie the Pooh characters, and I think they're so cute and adorable, I'm not a big fan of their movies. And that's kind of disappointing to me. Because it's like, I love the characters, I love their sweetness, but I think the stories and their nature, the movies that they've made, none of them have been able to capture of what these characters represent. It's like, it's weird. But I'll still put this one in C. The Rescuers Down Under. I'll put this one in C. Because I do think there was some fun nature to it. But honestly, still, I don't find any interest in this movie. I do like the dark elements, that there is something kind of terrible in this movie, but not a lot of stuff to really get me interested fully, but I'll put this one in C. Fox and the Hound. Honestly, this is one of the rare Disney movies that I actually like going back to. It's pretty fun. I remember watching this one day in spring break during, 2015 in school, I think. It was a pretty good movie, I'm not gonna lie. I don't care what you haters say, it was good. I'll put this one in the B. It's got that Disney magic. The Black Cauldron, honestly, I don't really know what I feel about it. It kind of feels like, it truly definitely feels like an 80s movie. But then at the same time, I'm also thinking, I've heard so many issues with it that it's just so bad. I don't know if it did well at the box office for Disney. I don't think it did. But honestly, I don't really have too many more thoughts to say about it. I kind of liked it a little bit better than Alice in Wonderland. But that's all I'm really going to put it there, honestly, yeah. The Great Mouse Detective. Honestly, this is on the same level that I have with the Aristocats. Where I just think it's a fun movie. And it handles the mouse characters much better. And I like that it's a detective story, and it just works really well. It's a hidden gem from Disney. Granted, I don't know if it's really gonna be. This is really gonna be the official list, but yeah, this is where I'll put it. And now we have Oliver and Company. Besides that one catchy song towards the beginning of the movie is completely ass. This is just in a very ass film. I don't know. I could not get into it. It was not very good. I'll put it at the top of F. For me, at least. And now we get into the big top dogs with The Little Mermaid and Disney Renaissance. Listen, folks. This is where the list starts to get very hard because I love a lot of these movies. So, Little Mermaid, I've rewatched this movie in the account of 3 years. Ever since we got the live-action Little Mermaid, I cannot stop thinking about the first Little Mermaid because I'm like, that first movie in the Renaissance was just so special. It made sense why it was such a huge impact. So big that we had a whole revamp version, a whole reincarnation of the Little Mermaid show at Hollywood Studios. And that show's great. And the way it uses its technology. And as for the original movie, can you acknowledge some flaws with some of the story beats? Yeah, but at the same time, it's also like, every time I watch it, I'm like, I love it. It's a classic story. It's a classic tale. And it works really well. And the fact that for 10 years, from 1989 to 1999, they were able to create possibly some of the greatest era of Disney movies ever since the Golden Age. And that's crazy to say. But I'm gonna put this one in the S. It's not as good as Dumbo, but it's definitely on par with it. We have Rescuers Down Under. Now, I have not seen this movie since I first saw it, but it does kind of make me want to go back and rewatch it, because something I was not realizing what this era of Disney animation was doing was that this era of animation was essentially doing something big with animation, making these worlds huge. And that's what Rescuers Down Under was. It was a huge, massive movie of showing how large this world was. And there was, like, action sequences, and you care about the characters, but, like, it was a testament to show how exciting an action world can be. And all that stuff. And I thought, that was kind of cool. So, I'm going to put this one in the C category, because I kind of want to go back and rewatch it. And now we have Beauty and the Beast, which, much like Little Mermaid, it's a film that I don't go back to as much as I want to, but I still love it every single time. I actually love it each time I rewatch it, but somehow every time I rewatch it, it feels like a brand new time. Like I experience something new and different every single time. And I felt the same way with movies like Wicked, which, like, I don't know if it's because, like, it just feels so authentic and unique. Beauty and the Beast feels that way for me. And it's like, the characters are so funny. It's like, the jokes hit well. And, you know, I know the whole story with everything. But it hits so well when you go back and rewatch it. It's like, it's so great. And honestly, I think it truly bumped up to be one of my favorite Disney movies ever. So, yeah. This movie's great. It's awesome. And now we have Aladdin, which I'm actually going to be honest here. I've dialed back a little bit on Aladdin. Now, hear me out. I still love the movie of Aladdin. I still think it's a classic Disney movie. I love it with all my heart. But if I'm going to be honest, I don't think it's as good as Beauty and the Beast. I still think it's a great movie. But, honestly, I tend to love going for Robin Williams' Genie, where it's just one of my favorite performances of Robin Williams. But at the same time, like, the story is still great. I love all the action adventure stuff. I love Aladdin. I love Jasmine. Of course, everybody loves Jasmine in this movie. Jafar is a great villain. I think the only thing that brings this movie down for me is I don't think the songs in here are as good. Now, granted, they're all iconic. I love One Jump Ahead. I love A Whole New World. I'm not a big fan of the Genie songs with Prince Ali or A Friend Like Me. I tend to like the remake versions more. I know that seems like a hot take because normally you wouldn't like the remake stuff more, but that's just my opinion. It's probably because I just liked the way Will Smith kind of included rap in his versions. I don't know. I also don't know if it's like Robin Williams doesn't know how to sing. I mean, granted, he does opera, but just naturally singing, I don't know. It felt kind of weird. And also, you watch the movie, and sometimes it kind of feels like it's a little too short, and you kind of wish the adventure was a little bit longer. Which is kind of also why one of the things I liked about the remake was because it was a little longer, and they did a few things differently. But I'm not trying to hate on the movie. I still absolutely love it. I still love it with all my heart. But I'm gonna put an S. I'm gonna put an S. But this is where I'm gonna put it. Sorry, but I have to be honest with myself. The Lion King. I think we all know where this movie is gonna go. Yeah, I mean, come on. Where did you guys expect I was gonna put Lion King? I mean, come on. Pocahontas. Yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of this movie. Now, I mean, it's not completely terrible. I mean, I can definitely see why more people wanted to work on this movie because it's historical and everything. But, you know, the animation is pretty gorgeous. I do like some of the songs. They're pretty great. But other than that, the movie doesn't work all that well. I'll put this one in C because it's definitely better than most of these other movies, and it does have that Disney nostalgia with some of the songs in here and everything, but it is not a great movie. Hunchback of Notre Dame. Oh yeah, this is a top tier movie. I love this movie. Actually, hold up. I'm going to do something. I'm gonna put Beauty and the Beast up here. This is Beauty and the Beast is one of my favorite Disney movies. I'm actually not gonna lie. So yeah, Hunchback of Notre Dame. This movie, just much like Beauty and the Beast, just gets better every time I rewatch it. Like, the music in here is powerful. The story is dark, but it works really well. And then the characters are just so much fun. And while it's a film, it's probably one of Disney's darkest movies, but at the same time, it's like, it works really well. I love it. And I just love the characters. I love it. I love this movie so much. Then we have Hercules. Definitely one of Disney's funnest films, but it is a pretty messy movie. It almost feels very similar to the first Superman movie, but I'm not complaining because I like Superman. So I'm gonna put this one in the C. And now we get to Mulan, which is another favorite Disney classic of mine. I absolutely love this movie. Every single time I rewatch it, I happen to just love it a little bit more and a little bit more. Honestly, I probably like it more for the animation, the action sequences, rather than the actual story and our villain, which they're pretty good, and the story of Mulan trying to go and represent her father is really great. I happen to be more impressed with the action and animation, as well as the score, too, and the characters, but it's still one of my favorite Disney movies to begin with, so I love it. So, S tier. And now we have Tarzan, which has been one of my favorite Disney movies in the last year. If you guys don't know, I was absolutely obsessed with Tarzan growing up. And honestly, now that I'm basically a changed man, the song Son of Man has truly changed my life, but also the entire soundtrack is absolutely perfect. Instant perfection. As for where I'm going to put this one, I'm going to put this one in S. Definitely great. Awesome. Beautiful. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put Tarzan as an S plus tier movie. We'll see where it comes back. Yeah, it's one of my absolute favorites. Sorry, Mulan, I love you, but I think Tarzan means more. Fantasia 2000. I definitely think it's a little bit better than Fantasia 1 because it's not 2 hours long, but it does a few things that are serviceable. It works a little bit better. I can't really do anything with it. Obviously, I'm not going to go back and rewatch it because I don't really care. I'm gonna put this one in C. It was a little bit better than some of the other films. Dinosaur. To be honest, didn't really care about this movie all that much. It's like certain things happen and then certain things don't, and it kind of takes too long to end. It's like, yeah, I did not care about this movie. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Emperor's New Groove. Oh yeah, this is one of Disney's funniest movies. Like, this is one of Disney's funniest. Like, I love this movie to heart. Yeah, pretty much these top three films are perfect. Little Mermaid and Aladdin, they're great, but they're flawed. What's this next one? Atlantis? Yeah, honestly, besides a few action sequences, I kind of want to go back and rewatch it. So I'll put it in the C category because people do actually like this movie. So I'll put this one at the bottom of C. Lilo and Stitch. Honestly, my thoughts on this movie are a little bit degrading now because I don't really like the live action remake as much. I thought I would go back and really enjoy it, but honestly, like, I don't think the actors give as much stuff to do. But we're not talking about the remake. We're talking about the first animated film, and I think it's very good. Definitely a Disney classic. I'm gonna put this one. Yeah, I'll put this one in S. Above Little Mermaid. Yeah, definitely better. Treasure Planet. Might need to give another chance, but honestly, not as high of a chance. I'm more interested in rewatching Atlantis. Brother Bear. Brother Bear, definitely an iconic movie, definitely classic. Beautiful animation. The characters are funny. Yeah, I honestly really love it. Alright, next up we have Home on the Range. Yeah, I could definitely see some funness to it, but honestly, it's not fun enough. Yeah, it's that bad. Chicken Little. Yeah, this movie's very, very bad. Just very bad. This movie's terrible. Now, I cannot lie, there are some funny scenes. Whenever the Chicken Little's like, what are we talking about? That scene cracks me up like 5 times. But yeah, I could not care about this movie all that much. I'm gonna put this one at the top of F. Because it was probably the most entertaining of them all. Meet the Robinsons. A pretty entertaining time travel movie, but it's not my favorite. That's the thing. It's not my favorite. Now, as to where I'll put this one, it's definitely serviceable. I'll put this one in B. Yeah, I'll put this one in B. Oh yeah, I'll put it between these two. Yeah, it definitely works. Bolt, just another. It's almost on the par of like Sleeping Beauty and 101 Dalmatians. But I'm actually going to put it in between Aristocats and Great Mouse Detective. Because once again, it kind of feels like we're about for Toy Story, except with dogs. But, hey, it works. It works really well. Princess and the Frog. Princess and the Frog has actually become one of my favorite Disney movies. I love Princess and the Frog. This movie is just iconic. And what's so crazy is, my sister it's one of those Disney movies my sister used to rewatch constantly back in the day. And I always loved it. But now, especially this year, the soundtrack is iconic. I love every single song. I love the characters. And, a lot of people say that, when Tiana turns into a frog, the movie just gets boring and it, becomes gross. But, the animal stuff of Disney movies has always been part of their nature. And yeah, I can totally see it. I can understand why when they turn into frogs, it's not all that interesting. But the movie still has something going forward. And in many cases, I think as a love story, it works really well. Because it's still continuing what the movie's all about. It's showing us a princess. A Disney princess that's not all about needing a man in her life. And working hard to get what she wants. And that's what this movie's trying to accomplish here. But then you also have this, and you're also doing a great job of developing a prince who has been given stuff to him his whole life, and yet he doesn't really know how to do much of anything. And that to me is just so amazing. But at the same time, it's a black princess movie, and it works really well of doing that socialness, of that doing that, colored people. I don't know how to say it, culture people. I'm trying to find the right words. Sorry. African black culture. Well, this is Louisiana. The Bayou, New Orleans. Overall, great movie. I don't want to like offend anybody. I'm trying to state this in the best way possible. This is a great movie. You're going in the S+ tier. Tangled. Oh yeah, one of my absolute favorites. This is just a god tier movie. Now, actually, I don't know where I want to put this one. Hold up. Actually, I don't know where I want to put Tangled. It's probably gonna okay. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Tangled is honestly one of the best Disney movies that I have seen. To where, yeah, it is a traditional story with a white princess, and it's going back to the Disney formula that we all love and like. This one, however, is probably one of Disney's best princess movies. The reason for it is, number one, they understood how to develop this princess right. Where all the princesses that we got before, like, of course, we had the Renaissance with Belle and Jasmine and Mulan. But they didn't really, like, they worked. They definitely worked. But this is the first time where I feel like the princess of a Disney movie actually got something to do really well. And then also, like, the prince, Flynn Rider, he's great. And we learned a lot about him and what he's like, and he's very spunk, and, you know, Zachary Levi plays him great. And then Mother Gothel, she's such an evil villain, and the voice actress that plays her, it's great. She's a great character. All the characters are great in here. Pascal's a great character. The songs in here are great. The animation is flourishing. And the score just has this classic Disney feel to it that just works so well. It is just an iconic, classic Disney movie. It is awesome. Not Tangled. Winnie the Pooh, much like the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, it just feels like the other Disney movie, except the animation is a bit better. Granted, it's not anything like surprising or pleasing, but it is very good. So I'm going to put this one in the C category, above the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Wreck-It Ralph. Oh yeah, this is a banger. This is an absolute banger. Now, I don't love it as much as I want to. It's still an S tier movie. It's one of my absolute favorites. But when we're actually talking about certain Disney movies, I think it's great. I love the idea that, like, he took this video game world and he kind of did something interesting with it. After they, like, travel through power chords, and then you have this video game character that wants to be a good guy, but he can't. And he like tries to do something crazy, and he gets trapped in all these other video games, and two of his other friends try to find him. Like, it has all that great stuff. It's pretty funny at times. It's also pretty thematic. It has pretty good world building in this world, and it's just a really good Disney movie. It's really great. Frozen. Oh yeah, this is one of my absolute favorites. I love Frozen. Frozen is probably one of the most rewatchable Disney movies I've ever seen. I'm probably going to put this one in S+ here, above Beauty and the Beast. Frozen is just one of those movies that it's so rewatchable. And honestly, I think after watching the Frozen musical sing-along show at Hollywood Studios, it makes me like the movie a little bit more, and it makes me want to go back and watch the movie again. But then I'm also getting very excited for Frozen 3, because I'm like, you think about all the stuff that has come out with the Frozen franchise, all of them have been good. Even Frozen 2, which we'll talk about in a little bit. This movie is great. And the fact that it's like, it started such a great franchise of stuff, and everything in it has managed to be really good and entertaining. That's the power of something that is special. That I think, and I think now I'm starting to understand why Disney wants to make Frozen movies. They want to make a whole, like, franchise out of that, and Frozen 3. Not because they just make a whole lot of money, but because kids really like it, and they're very entertained by it. So it's like, that is the main factor that they should be going off with. So that, I think, is really great. Big Hero 6. I remember there was a time I was very obsessed with this movie. I'm not quite as there anymore, but I still do love it. I'm actually going to put this one in the A tier. It's still a great movie. I will say there was a version of this movie where the villain, Callahan, was going to have like a team of supervillains to help him. It got scrapped. Kind of wish it didn't, but still love the movie though. Love the characters, and I like the way it deals with grief, and that, like, don't get over it. It's okay to not get over it immediately. It takes time, and I really enjoyed that. And now we're on to Zootopia, the first Zootopia at least. I love the first Zootopia. I think it is truly one of Disney's greatest achievements in Disney history. As rewatching it today, I think it's probably Disney's funniest movies. It does a great job of doing prejudice with animals, but then at the same time also explores, this world, and has a lot of fun gags to it. And it just sets up this world really nicely with all these mammals, and it just does really well. Love Zootopia. But also, like I said with Frozen, Zootopia is the kind of franchise where I think Disney should be expanding more on, because these movies can prove that they are good. So, yeah. Moana. I have said that I do actually really like Moana. And I know there are actually some people that like Moana more. But if I'm going to be honest, when you compare Moana to the first film, to Zootopia, Zootopia has a lot more to do. And while, yeah, it is technically an animal story, Moana, it's just a voyage on the ocean. And really, the movie is more, I feel like I praise the movie more for the animation rather than the development of the great story. And like, a lot of the characters in the movie we really don't get to see, and yet there's so many plushies of the Pua pig. And, I mean, sure, and yet I don't really see much of the Hey Hey chicken or Maui. And so I'm like, but those were the main characters that were in the film more often. So, I don't know. I still love the movie because I have rewatched it constantly with the soundtrack. It just gets better every single time. Actually, hold up. I'm actually going to switch this. Actually, no, wait. Hold up. Yeah, that's where I'll do it. And then Ralph Breaks the Internet. A disappointing sequel, because it's not as good as the first film, but it's still very good. I like the internet references and the cameos and all that stuff. The Disney Princess cameos were awesome. But I also like the way it kind of explored friendship, in that certain friends can get clingy at certain times, and it develops a friendship that's really well. And I really enjoy it, and I kind of want a third movie, though I don't think there will be, though, because I don't think this movie did really well at the box office, but I still kind of liked it. So as to where I'll put it at the bottom of A. Frozen 2. Much like I said with Ralph Breaks the Internet, I think, it's not as good as the first film, but it is very great. I can understand why this movie is very beloved by some people, because, the music is powerful, the characters and how they do them is really good, and it's also really funny and entertaining, which is why I like the Frozen franchise. It's just so much fun and entertaining to be in this world. Granted, I'm not. I think that's also deserved because I also don't know if I really loved the development of this world because I'm like, we only have Arendelle. What more can we get? But then we also realize, wait, we're in a world where the queen has ice powers. Where did that come from? And it is kind of interesting. And I'm hoping we can get more answers in the third movie where we can actually have a threat and a villain to stop. But that's just me. So I'm going to put this one in the A as well. Where I'm going to put this between here, yeah. I'll put this here. Raya and the Last Dragon. Now, this is where my kind of thoughts kind of come into place because honestly, I still love this movie. I still think it's one of Disney's best movies in forever. We're getting down to our last 6 movies on the list of the 2020s. And I think this is definitely one of Disney's best movies that we've gotten since COVID. However, I look back on it, there are some things that I think should be fixed, like it should be a little bit longer and not spending like 30 minutes with the credits. I will say, I think the fact that it's just going, this drone thing is going after all these people in these Asian lands, and it's been doing that for 6 years. It's kind of unbelievable that that's happening, but honestly, like, I wish I could put it, I want to lower it because of those flaws, but honestly, like, it doesn't ruin the experience for me as much. Honestly, I still love it, so, I'll put it between Dumbo and Emperor's New Groove. I think that's where I'll put it, yeah. That's where I'll put it. Encanto. Everybody loves Encanto. I mean, come on. The characters are so much fun. It's such a colorful movie. And honestly, while it's not like, it's sort of the Beauty and the Beast of this generation, it's not as good, but it definitely feels like Beauty and the Beast in this generation where every time I rewatch it, it just gets better on rewatch. And that's great. I love that. So, I'm going to put this one in the A category. And it's actually going to go between Jungle Book and Big Hero 6. And now we get to our final 4 films with Strange World. Strange World, and this is where pretty much Disney started going downhill with all 3 of their next movies. Strange World, yeah, honestly, I guess did not care for this movie. Or actually, yeah, I'll put it there. I did kind of like the animation, but honestly, did not care for it. Wish, I'm not as negative on this movie. I actually did kind of like it. Now, I'm probably going to drop the score a little bit. I'm going to put this in A. It's a pretty great movie. I do kind of like the music. I think it, everybody complains about Zootopia 2 giving out too many cameos. Wish gives out too many cameos. But I get it because it was the 100-year anniversary, so I think it's appropriate for that. But it still felt like it had that Disney magic that I liked. Is it as rewatchable as the films in the A category? Probably not, but I still think it was very good. Moana 2. Not as good as the first movie, but I still, I love the animation. Do I like the songs? Only 2. What Rides Beyond. And also the Maui song. Can I get a Chihu? You gotta, Moana. Some of those lines kind of ate up, but it just kind of felt like all the music was missing Lin-Manuel Miranda's rhythm. But also, just the story was not very good. Now, I did like that they tried to include Pua and all these other characters on the journey. But the new characters that they introduced in here, I just did not care about. And so, it's and also the fact that Maui kind of switched teams a little bit towards the end. I just did not care for it. So, yeah, I'm going to put this one in D. I didn't care for it all that much. Yeah. I'm sorry. And finally, we have Zootopia 2, which I'm happy to report this is one of my favorite Disney movies. Definitely one of my favorite Disney movies. Absolutely love it. I think it is definitely one of Disney's best movies in years. If I'm going to be honest, I am struggling to know where to put it, because I think once you start reaching Emperor's New Groove, those are my favorite Disney movies. But I don't know where to put it, because I don't know if I like it more than... I definitely like it more than Emperor's New Groove. And I definitely like it but it's between Raya, Dumbo, and Wreck-It Ralph. I don't like it more than the first Zootopia, but exactly where do I put it? I don't know if it's better than Wreck-It Ralph, so it has to be better than either Dumbo or Raya. And... you know what? Opinions can change. I'm going to put it between Emperor's New Groove and Raya. It's probably a hard decision to make, but I think I did it. I think I made it. And there you have it. That's my top 10. That's my tier list of every single Walt Disney animation feature film ever made. And yeah, that is my list. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. If you could like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.